V Collection 9 contains some of the most legendary instruments in music production history. In this video, I'm going to show you how to maximize your usage of this epic collection of instruments. First, it's helpful to understand the scope of what you truly get in V Collection. There are 33 plugins in total. At the heart of the bundle are analog synths, with some standouts being the redesigned Prophet 5V and the new Korg MS-20V. All these instruments have unique characteristics within them. Next are the digital synth and samplers. These include some truly historic instruments and a new SQ80V. Then there are the keyboards and organs, and of course you can't forget the acoustic pianos and electric pianos, as well as the new Augmented Series instruments. These are new in V Collection 9 and aren't actually emulations of hardware instruments. However, they really fill out the bundle by adding some string and vocal sounds to it. And finally, there's Analog Lab. This is essentially one instrument to access all the presets in V Collection. It's really helpful for honing in on the sound you're looking for. Now that we can see the immensity of V Collection 9, let's hone in on one instrument so we can get a strong grasp on synthesis workflow. If you haven't been deep diving in parameters in your synthesizers, I think Mini V is a great place to start. It's based off the super popular mono synth, the Mini Moog, and it's pretty simple in functionality when compared to other synthesizers in this collection. However, that ladder filter keeps me still coming back to it, and it's undeniably overpowered for bass lines. So first off, I want to point out that Arturia has great resources built into the plugins for learning these instruments. If you're unfamiliar with a parameter or hit any roadblocks, I definitely recommend checking the tutorials tab. So to me, the heart of any synthesizer, whether it be analog or digital, is the oscillator section. These are the sound generators themselves, and as you can see, Mini V has 3 oscillators. These oscillators are triggered by the piano keys below, and I think it's really helpful to understand the signal flow of a synthesizer. For Mini V, we go from the piano keys to the controller section, which have parameters to affect the inputs going into the oscillators. These oscillators then feed into the mixer. This is where you can balance the oscillators among themselves, as well as add in noise and an external input. The signal then moves into the filter and loudness control. This is where you can really sculpt the timing of the sound. And then we head to the output and some of our performance controls. So to demonstrate these, let's build a preset from scratch. We'll head up to the preset browser and go to the default preset. So now when we play our keyboard, we only hear one oscillator playing a sawtooth wave. So as you can hear, we can select different waveforms, and I think this triangle wave will sound nice for a bass sound. And I can hear it kind of gliding between 2 notes, so let's hear it with the glide parameter up, and that's in the left controllers panel. Alright, so the next thing we can do is take in another oscillator, so we'll need to go into the mixer section to bring the level up of that second oscillator. As you can hear, this middle knob adjusts the semitones. 7 semitones is a perfect fifth, and that's a nice interval. You can even try building chords with all 3 oscillators. One pro tip I have for y'all is that you can adjust the width of the square and triangle waves. Simply hold shift when you click and drag the waveform parameter, and that will adjust the width. Listen to the difference. Alright, let's take in the 3rd oscillator, and we'll use the range parameter, which will adjust the octave. Next, let's use the filter to further sculpt the sound. This is a low pass filter, so the cutoff frequency is going to be where in the frequency range the high frequencies are cut off. The filter emphasis is basically the resonance, and then the amount of contour adds an envelope to the filter. These are controlled by the ADS parameters below. The loudness contour also has a basic ADS envelope, and I think it's really important to be meticulous with the timing of your envelopes. These are also some of the first parameters I'll change when jumping to a new preset. Some other factors to consider when timing your envelopes are the BPM of your track and the rhythm and feel of your drums. The output panel allows us to control the master volume, as well as enable unison and control the amount of detuning of the voices. So the original Mini Moog was monophonic, however the Mini V adds polyphonic capabilities. In fact, most of the synths in V Collection have small level ups like this. They were basically like, let's not just recreate these, but make them more powerful. Almost all the instruments have an advanced section. This is where Arturia provides some note effects, more modulation options, and some audio processing effects like this cool vocal filter. The chorus effect brightens up the sound nicely. The different types represent the amount of voices. And my favorite part is this motion recorder. These are 4 custom curves that you can assign to a variety of parameters. I really love the tools they give you to draw and edit the curves. It's really inspiring. These are modulating the pulse width of our oscillators. It's really subtle but impactful. I really like how this sounds over the Kount loop. Let's add some more instruments from V Collection, see if we can make some more layers. So to complement these filtered chord stabs, I added an instance of CZV. This uses phase distortion synthesis, which is a relative of FM, but easier to use. You can use this as a go-to for some bright digital sounds. I'm using it for this digital organ stab. I then added this ultra sub preset. This fills out the low end, and again, Mini V is great for bass sounds. Then I layered in this dope melody sample and chopped it up. This is actually my favorite part, which is this Wurlitzer doing this arpeggio up. I layered a mellotron and vocoder to make this response melody. It happens at the end of the phrase. I used the Jupiter 8 organ preset for the intro. This instrument has some of the most iconic presets. Definitely recommend spending time with this one. Alright, so now I want to show you all the 4 new instruments that come with V Collection 9 and some of the sounds you can achieve with them. Augmented Strings adds a whole new soundscape to V Collection. It's one of the most expressive instruments, so I can use Aftertouch on my keyboard. Adds a little vibrato. And this main morph knob is a macro that controls quite a few parameters under the hood. I definitely recommend automating it to add movement to your sound. The advanced section allows you more precise control of the sound. Augmented Voices is very similar. You can use it from anything from choir sounds to more modern vocal effects. I've found automating the reverb for these augmented voice instruments is a fun sound design technique. Next is the Korg MS-20V. This semi-modular synth has a step sequencer and is perfect for some more aggressive analog bass sounds. The modular section can get pretty wild for sound design. You can click and drag to route cables and right-click them to delete them. really recommend navigating to the effects section in any of these instruments. There's really so much potential within each of these synths. The fourth new instrument they added was the SQ80V. This is a digital synthesizer that has 3 oscillators. Arturia has of course emulated the original wavetables, but has added hundreds more. Because of all these waveforms, this is one of the most versatile synths in the lineup. So those were the 4 new instruments, but Arturia also redesigned 4 instruments as well. They improved the UI to make them more streamlined. There are actually too many features to share in this one entire video, but I want to share some rapid fire tips and tricks to get the most out of V Collection 9. Get under the hood of the Piano V instrument to really customize the sound. The Velocity Curve Editor and Learning Tool is super clutch. You can drag and drop samples into instruments like the Mellotron. I like to juxtapose different types of samples and then crossfade between them. Make sure you take advantage of the tagging system. You can create your own custom tags and then they all link back to Analog Lab. Also, don't sleep on Analog Lab. It's probably the best way to use V Collection. You can browse all the presets and then go in and edit the presets if you need to. I used Analog Lab to hone into this SQ80V preset, which I then customized. The Prophet 5 is perfect for some lush lead melodies. Used augmented strings in Korg MS-20V to add these mellow layers. For sub bass, you can see I used Mini V, and it's really been my go-to for bass lines. So as you can hear, all these instruments cover such a wide scope of sound. I really can't overstate the value you get with these instruments. You can try V Collection free on Splice rent to own. It's only $24.99 a month until you pay off the full license. You can pause or resume at any time. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, y'all. Learned something new, gained some inspiration. Gonna play back this final idea I made with all these instruments.